work ethics that you need to also, that come as part of communication skills. You're ethical and honest. You need to be, follow work ethics when you speak to your seniors, juniors. How do you communicate to them? Dear sirs, hi, madam. When do you say a hi? When do you say respected sir? When do you say warm regards as your closing signature? When do you say yours faithfully or yours truly or thanking you? These are all little communication points that help present your skills as an individual person to the person you are communicating to. Develop trust and respect through actions and behavior. That little, you don't go and hug somebody in the first meeting unless you know the person from beginning and you had a relationship with the person. How warm should your hug be? How distant should it be? How do you shake hands? With who? How do you shake hands with the gentleman? How do you shake hands with the lady? And how do you give that warm hug when you're parting? Or how do you say your thank you, etc.? All that also depends on your behavior and your relationship that you have with that person. So obviously the first one is very cordial. You build that relationship over a period of time. You get comfortable with that person. The opposite person gets comfortable with you. You then become a known person, and then you communicate accordingly. Then you behave accordingly. Negotiate in good faith, not just for the sake of negotiating. It's silly. If he says 10 rupees, you say, no, make it 8. That is foolish negotiation. Negotiation should be well backed up, reasonable, well reasoned out, and taken ahead. Respect policies and regulations. Organizations, when you go for meetings these days, have a lot of regulations in terms of having your ID cards, your badges, and your photo ID and stuff, simply for security reasons or policy and regulation that the organization follows. Please respect that, because if you don't, it goes back to the client that the person was very arrogant and whatever, and doesn't speak good. Every organization, your own organization and the organization you're going to. Refrain from activities that will damage or discredit you and your organization. So if you be the fussy one or the nasty one, it damages your image. And believe you me, this really is very important. There are times, I've learned it over the years in my communication, how I used to be quite arrogant before. I used to not communicate well. And I got the feedback, thankfully. I got the feedback from my teammates and from my good well-wishers. And I took it positively. And I changed my ways. So it's a learning process, like I said. And I would imagine everyone would learn to do all that. Hold your organization in high esteem. Don't use your position for personal gain or benefit. This is some habit that we all have very often. We all go on, oh, I am in the senior position. I can say what I want. I can do what I want. It doesn't work long time. Short term, maybe you need to act when it's called for. I am a taskmaster. I'm known as a taskmaster when I want to get work out of my team. But at the same time, they all know that it's a 30-second flip, stern flip, and then back to my normal self. And come on, guys, let's go. Let's get going. But you've conveyed that you're not going to take any nonsense. You want the work on time. At the same time, you are with your team. That's important. So your positioning should be maintained for the respect. Respect is always never commanded. You demand respect. So the way you behave and the way you want to get out of your work out of your team, how you lead from the front, matters, and that's how you gain the command, the demand over your, people respect you. You gain that respect. Pursue the highest standards of excellence and professionalism. This is a learning process. You've got to understand and try and grow time after time, event on event, project on project, for to maintain good standards. Because at the end of the day, when people are paying you that kind of money, everybody is looking at the standard there. Today there's no here, it's there. Somebody invests in your event with hypothetically 5 lakh rupees, is looking back at a return of 5 crores. So you've got to be maintaining those standards of excellence and professionalism. Professionalism is you are straight to the point. If something is wrong, you have to politely put it forward. If the person understands, great. Otherwise, you're putting it down on record anyways. And better sense sooner or later always prevails. So it's what you do from your side. You need to be professional. You need to be. Therefore, then you will be given professionalism. For example, I think professionalism here mainly more would be time-wise. Many professionals think that, it's okay, 10 minutes late. Sometimes they will start for a meeting barely 5 minutes and say, I'm on the way, and things like that. You don't respect people's time, people don't respect you. But you've got to be professional, because sometimes I go to the extent of saying that we have back-to-back meetings, and so we would be very happy to see you at sharp 4 o'clock, and we do have another meeting at 5:30. So we have this window, especially at the senior level, because you do have many meetings and many projects to look into. You can't keep waiting for somebody endlessly, and so especially when you know that the person is a habituated latecomer, or in any other manner. Professionalism also shows all these good communication qualities, written and verbal, shows professionalism, brings about professionalism. Be empathetic. I've seen in many organizations, people are very crude. When I say empathetic, I don't mean sympathetic. I mean to the point, to that moment of whatever is wrong. Be empathetic. Understand. Here, there may be a genuine problem. Hear it out and then react. What happens is we do not hear anybody and we simply react. You came in late, I don't care, you're going out of this meeting. But for a moment, you may just want to think and say that genuinely what must have happened. And you know the person. If the person is a fibber and says my tire went off and things, you know it. But if you don't, if you know the person well and you feel that there may be a genuine, reason, then hear it out for that moment and then react. Be compassionate with your team, with your vendors, with everybody that you work with. Because I see it lacking a lot in many ways. Okay, but being compassionate with your own self first, understanding what compassion is about, how compassionate you need to be with the person you're working with, or your subordinates or your seniors, is very important. Excel through ethical, reliable, and competent conduct. So, ethical, we already spoke. Reliable is again trustworthy. Make such a scenario where your client says that I want to meet this person and I want to meet only her, so that I can trust her because I know her. I can trust her abilities. I trust her understanding, and she's reliable. I can rely on her that my work will be completed, and at the same time, competent conduct. In the sense, if there are 10 companies, and most of the times today, you'll find for large pitches in events, you'll find that there are 5 different companies pitching. Don't get baffled about that. See how competent you are. And like I said, the relationship that you have developed with the person, the trust in the person has for you, your business ethics are in place. And then on top of it all, if you are a good thinker, you've thought out of the box, you've come up with great ideas, vis-a-vis the costs, then you're done. You're in the right place, no matter 5 companies, 10 companies. Good work will be selected. Good ethics will be selected. Reliability and trust factor matter. Adhere to all safety standards. Please, again, important, very, very important today's times. We've seen over a period of time how recklessly in our industry people have made things for the sake of thinking high, thinking out of the box, yes, but practicality is one thing. So, got to be dead sure of what you're proposing, what you're putting up there. Is it safe? Is it 100, 200% safe? Have you tried, tested, and then go? Maintain appropriate insurance coverages. You need to be well insured, especially when you have a large event and a lot of money going into it. Every event needs to be insured. Treat others with respect. That comes as in your professionalism, in your, as I mentioned, how you communicate, how you talk. Transparent relationships with vendors and service providers. Again, here, one very, very touchy point, I would say. It is seldom there. Many, many large organizations, I have seen that transparency of work ain't there. Transparency in relationships ain't there. There are commercial departments that are there in the organizations that do all the field work, and still and yet preferences do come in and play a big part. So even if it is good relations, I would say, but being fair and transparent in the entire processing and then in the pitch and the deliverance makes a big difference. Even with your vendors. So what I would do is I would develop 10 vendors in different categories and in different levels, so that if my event budget is a 5 lakh, hypothetical figures here, okay, is a 5 lakh budget, then in 5 lakh, I cannot have 1.5, 2 lakhs going towards sound light. Obviously, the scale of the event is in that level. So therefore, how much would I impart? How much would I set aside for sound and light? And therefore, which vendor would be suitable to do that? Okay, like that, in each category, in each activity on my element list, I would have different vendors. And therefore, what I'm doing is I'm creating a nice vendor base, and I'm working with everybody, and I'm working with good relationship with everybody. And of course, when you work, in the course of time, you realize who is good, who is trustworthy, who is not. So obviously, you don't, who cuts shots, who is tacky in their work, who doesn't do proper finishing. You understand all that, you see, you observe. And then for the next time, this is the person we've worked with for the last, henceforth, we will not give new people a chance. So keep with the trend, keep with the new blood coming in and work with different service providers. Build your relationship with them. No discrimination, of course, of caste, creed, color, etc. All a good job, a good delivery is good enough for you. Quality, standard, high standard, honesty, diligence, these things matter. No discrimination otherwise. Timely communication and follow up. Very important again, because if you don't intervene at the right time and you don't make corrections at the right time, you're gone. As I said in the beginning, an event is a start to finish process. If your event starts at 7, ceaselessly goes through and is ending at 10 p.m. You cannot stop in the middle. So if there is something that you need to convey to your teammate or to your client during that time, it is important to do it then and there, and then immediate follow-up. Okay? This could mean even leading to the event. You may have a problem last minute on the stage part of it, and you may say that, okay, suddenly the weather has, changed, and I feel we must have a waterproof shed over the shade because you're going to have van, you're going to have equipment, and this is the time I have on my hand, client, can I please have a shed up immediately? I need your response immediately. And that's that immediate follow-up or whatever. So it depends on the company also and the organization also to come back to you immediately and say, hey, yes, please go ahead and do it. Or no, we will take the risk, whatever it is. Lead from the front, we've done before. Build a strong team, we've done before. Stay abreast of all surroundings. I repeat, you must stay abreast of all surroundings. Important, who is doing what, where, to be competent enough in this world. And also try and be a step ahead of others always. Try that, and that will only come about with awareness, because when you only know, when you read, when you hear, when you see, you will know, oh boy, I am way back. Good, let me brush up. Let me go ahead. Let me do whatever. Let me brush up my skills. And this is the last slide. Be prepared, considerate, realistic, and factual. Like I said before, don't fib, don't be impractical, be realist. Systems and practices always need to be followed, met with, deadlines and promises to be kept. Now, how will you keep deadlines if you don't follow a proper time schedule? So follow a proper time schedule, make a time schedule, follow it, leave buffers, and therefore try and meet every deadline that you can. Keep calm and courteous even under pressure. Now, this again is one important aspect. You can either, if something goes wrong, you can either hold your head and sit down and say, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, or you can say, hold up, keep your calm and say, okay, 1 minute. This is the backup reaction. Please go ahead and do it. That's how you can overcome last minute pressures and also risk management at the end to a great extent. Keeping calm and thinking at that point as to what is my backup resource to solve this problem? Not sit and say, oh, I have a problem. Get up and move and think how you're going to seek the solution to the problem. Don't criticize, seek resolution. Criticizing is very easy, but hold yourself, seek a resolution. Tomorrow it could be you. Share the glory, raise your partners and staff. Always. It's always teamwork. Give a clap for the team, get them all together, give them a pat on the back, praise them. Where they have done wrong, discreetly talk to them separately and tell them, whatever it was, but this could have been done better. So that they improvise in there. And likewise, a client always comes back with a closing, end remarks on your closing report. You present a closing report of the event and the client comes back with their end remarks, with their observations. Those have to be taken with a good intention that you will, okay, and maybe sometimes they're irrelevant. The client is only pointing out, many clients do that, just give you irrelevant ad hoc reviews to save on their monies or to get out of the situation and not pay you the balance amount and stuff like that. Most organizations do that. However, how your experience teaches you and how you accept what is correct and what was not correct also, and improvise for the next one. Don't repeat the same mistake. That is the most important. So, building your team will call for sharing your glory with them, praising them, and rewarding them if need be. Take them for a party, give them some treat, etc. Is all part of team building. Don't disclose directly or indirectly any confidential information. Every brief or every organization that gives you any kind of important contract or whatever that they sign up with you is always confidential. Never leak it out. Never, directly or indirectly. It is, again, this is part of work ethics, very important ethics, and communication. Do not ever disclose. Be very discreet of what you share and what you don't share with people. And if it is meant to be confidential, it has to be kept that way. Distribute work, make subordinates responsible. This area also I see very often people are lax. A project manager thinks just over the top for himself, gets so embedded with everything and says, no, it's like I want to hold on to everything. But that does not, I don't have the time to give you examples. There are so many that I have experienced in my life that I've seen, a huge project crash at the last minute just because the project head sits and tries to do everything. Everything. You have only 2 legs and 2 hands. Why are you given a team? Why have you segregated that team? Why have you given that X person that job? The job of a project head is essentially to sit on the top and watch like a hawk and intervene at the right point and delegate and say, hello, this is going wrong, stop, let's do it this way. This is going fine, move ahead. These are the distributing your work and then taking a collective report is the right way a project management should be done. Hold subordinates responsible. When you're giving the job to them, you tell them that you understand this is your responsibility. I'm going to ask you this at the end of 2 days. Your timeline is so and so. Please take your time and come back to me with the correct, whatever you have, thoughts, correct, good, right, wrong, we can always correct. But hold them responsible. Give them responsibility. Only then will a team also feel motivated and, self-important that, okay, my God, I have this responsibility. Make sure doesn't sleep the night, sits up the night and does it perfectly fine. But give him that responsibility. Distribute the work in such a manner where you're just observing and putting in your efforts and time at the right time with the people that need your support and keep the whole thing going together at all times. Do not just sit with, I am the project head, I will say yes and no. When will you say yes and no? When will you have the time to do that? Because as a project head, we just don't have the event on ground. You have back-end work to do. You have clients to deal with. You have the art, big artists to talk to. You are doing many, many things. You're playing many roles. So give importance to what you should be doing and then the others are not. But what the others are doing, you're just watching and leading them and guiding them and getting them to do the correct thing. This is the most important part of communication skills and personal development. I hope you all enjoyed the lecture. See you soon in my next.